Well, fam, it's cruise day. We are waiting for my mom to come pick us up and take us to the ferry so we can get on the cruise. All right, we're all packed up and ready to go. I just wanted to touch on our luggage really quick. As you can tell, we pack extremely light. Our bags are packed pretty much to the gills, but we still pack pretty light. These are both carry-on approved size bags. My bag, the pineapple bag, is slightly larger. I don't know if you can tell that here, but it is approved for US domestic flights, carry-on size. Ian's is the gray one, and it is just a couple inches shorter and narrower, and it is approved for international carry-on regulation size. So I have a slightly smaller one that I take when we travel to Europe, but we do carry on only exclusively when we travel. So we are lighter packers. It still feels like we have a ton of stuff, but we did a pretty good job of paring it down. Each of us also have a bottle of champagne in our carry-on bags and all the essentials we could possibly need. So I'm gonna go doctor up our luggage tags really quick while I'm thinking about it and get ready to head out the door. We live on the Olympic Peninsula of Washington State, so we actually took public transportation to the cruise port this time. It was a $3.50 bus ride for each of us to get to the Bainbridge Island Ferry, and we walked on to Seattle, which was free that direction. Then a $10 or so Uber ride to the cruise port, and we spent less than $20 total on our transportation to the cruise terminal, which is much better than the airfare we usually have to pay. Well, we're walking from the Uber drop-off up to the ship. Ian's being a perfect gentleman and carrying the bags for us. Let's get a look at our ship. Here she is, the Eurodam. And here are some Alaskan fishing vessels. I think I'd prefer this one. Time for an update. We are hanging out on the balcony with the binocs, checking out what is where we live. Take a look. This is our beautiful view, and our hometown where we live is just due that way. So we are waiting to round the corner, and hopefully our family will be at home and we can spy them from all the way out here. Fingers crossed. The sail away party on the Lido deck was great. They had waiters coming around with hors d'oeuvres, drink specials, tables set up. It was much more like a sophisticated little cocktail hour than the raucous and rambunctious sail away parties of yore. So we just got back into our stateroom. Ian is out there taking photos, and I have to say, I am so impressed with HAL so far. This is proving to be an extremely premium cruising experience, despite the fact that we snagged a really amazing last minute deal. We have our towel animal. We had a guaranteed balcony cabin, but that became a spa cabin pretty rapidly. So we've got 2 pairs of slippers, which is amazing. Our Holland America reusable tote bag. Our wonderful room steward dropped off some chocolates and the room service menu for tomorrow. Did a nice job turning down the bed and the room. We are cruising away here. We've got the Olympic mountain range of Washington still outside the window. We're slowing down quite a bit right now, it looks like, or feels like anyway. Anyway, just wanted to share with you what was in our stateroom coming back this evening. Hello, and welcome to our first sea day on the Eurodam. We're out here. We're headed up into the inland towards Juneau. It's pretty windy. It's a little chilly today. Definitely chillier than it was yesterday in Seattle. Had a great first day. So impressed by the ship so far, and just been enjoying the sea day. We went for a 1 mile walk, which was 3 laps around the ship. We're going to do that a couple more times today because why not? There seems to be a little bit of a shortage of things to do in terms of activities on board. and quite a few activities that we're interested in stacked at the same time today. So we're thinking we're gonna go to afternoon tea at 3 o'clock, maybe trivia, happy hour, and then dinner. That's pretty much it. So enjoying our sea day. It's beautiful out here. Let me see if I can get it to really focus. We've got some blue sky peeking out, which is great, and having a great time so far. Hey cruisers, I just woke up from a super intense sea day nap. This is very par for the course with cruising. You just kind of take it as it comes and do whatever feels right. I took a Dramamine because the seas were pretty rough, and it just knocked me out. So I've been sleeping for like 2.5, maybe even 3 hours. Ian's been watching TV and reading back there. That blanket you see on the bed was actually on the promenade deck. They had them laid out instead of towels, probably for viewing or laying down in a recliner and keeping warm. So we actually picked 2 up and brought them back to our room so that we can have them while we sit on our balcony instead of taking apart the bedding and bringing it out there if we want to bundle up and watch the waves go by. It'll also be so nice to have on Glacier Bay Day. So we're just gonna tuck those away for ourselves and obviously return them when we're through. But I just wanted to mention that that's one of the features that we've found on Holland America so far. And we're just still so impressed with this line. So that's my update for right now with my froggy nap voice. I think we're gonna go track down a little something to eat, and I'll see you in the next update. We didn't have any excursions planned in Juneau, but we knew we wanted to visit the Mendenhall Glacier. When we got off the ship, we did a little self-guided walking tour of the downtown area and then found a tour through Glacier Express at $45 per person to take us up to the glacier in this old school bus. The driver was extremely knowledgeable and provided local facts and little history tidbits on our way up to the glacier. It was about a 15-minute drive, I'd say, and we saw eagles and even a black bear in somebody's yard on our way up there. This was our first view of the Mendenhall Glacier after getting off the bus. To the right there on the hill is the visitor center, and below it is the public restrooms. Walking along the trails was my personal favorite part of visiting the glacier. I love walking in nature, so this felt very familiar to me. The trails were extremely well maintained. We saw folks of all different activity levels and accessibility levels using these trails, from canes to walkers to even wheelchairs. There were some areas where you could step over rocks to cross little creeks if you deviated from the primary and most groomed trails. It is a rainy day here at the Mendenhall Glacier, but it's beautiful. You can feel the cold air coming off the glacier. We have a little ice flow over here, which is exciting to see. There's Ian making a cameo. Those falls are Russian. So let's head that way. As you can tell from behind me, the rain and fog and mist never really let up today for our port stop in Juneau, but that's okay. We still had a great day. We spent the bulk of it at Mendenhall Glacier exploring Juneau and coming back to warm up and enjoy the ship. This morning at about 7 a.m. we did see orcas. That was very exciting, but I did not have the wherewithal to get my camera out because I was still in my pajamas and running around on the balcony trying to see them. We also saw a bear today on the side of the road in Juneau eating in someone's yard. Again, camera wasn't out fast enough for that one either. Tons of eagles, but really hoping for some more whales, eagles, bears, all that in the next few days. So stay tuned. My number one piece of advice for anyone taking an Alaskan cruise is to get a pair of binoculars and keep them glued to your eyes whenever you have a free second. You will see tons of wildlife. We saw whales every single day of our cruise, along with seals, sea lion, otter, porpoises, etc. Today we are in beautiful Glacier Bay. It's pretty chilly out here. We just finished our room service breakfast. It's about 10 o'clock, so we've been up for a while. We've seen all kinds of wildlife today so far. We've seen a big brown grizzly bear, a ton of sea otters, some sea lions, and we're hoping for a whale sighting soon. We're getting pretty close to Marjorie Glacier, so that's really exciting. The temperature is dropping. As you can see, it's pretty misty out today, which makes it difficult to zoom in and see. Visibility is kind of low, but we have interpretive guides aboard the ship who are narrating and giving us things to look at, so that's really exciting. As you can see, we've got ice ahead. We'll check in with you soon. This countryside is just stunning. Look at those little trees on the hills there. What's funny about the sea otters is they pop up and pop back down just as soon as you spot them. So we've only been able to zoom in a couple times with the binoculars, but they are so cute swimming on their backs. Look at this wild and rolling country we are approaching here. Woohoo! Headed even further north into Alaska's Inside Passage. We finally have Marjorie Glacier behind us. I've been watching a little bit of calving activities, so I will insert some photos and video of that. It's really cool. The ice floes are a little nerve-wracking for fans of the Titanic, but you know, this cruise line's goal is to get you home safe, so I'm not stressed. But wow, it is amazing. Look at how jagged it is at the top. It's really, really wild. This is the area that's been calving the most, that little, well, big cave down there at the bottom of your screen. There it goes, a little bit more. Woo! Wow, look at that. Oh my goodness. Look how, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is amazing. The gulls are gonna go crazy. Oh my goodness. This is amazing. It is incredibly difficult to get a sense of scale from that video clip of Marjorie Glacier. The glacier is ginormous, and the pieces that fall at their largest size were bigger than an SUV. They were just huge. And the waves that they created churned up all kinds of life that the seagulls just loved. There were seals laying on ice floes. There were sea otters playing. It was a truly outstanding day. This was one of my favorite days on any cruise. It was just so unique. This is easily some of the most unique landscape I've ever seen in my entire life. The water was so calm, and there was very little activity on the ship all day, apart from the naturalists speaking over the loudspeakers. We really, really enjoyed our time in Glacier Bay. Welcome to Sitka. Good afternoon from Sitka, Alaska. We have the city of Sitka right here behind me. We are standing on the beach of the Tongass National Rainforest here in Sitka. This is where the totem pole park is. It's also where there's a ton of eagle and raven. So behind me in the trees, there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so eagles. There's 3 here on the beach. We love tide pools, so we are enjoying this. I'm gonna flip you around and give you a little shot of what I'm seeing. There is a native phrase out here that is, when the tide is out, the table is set. And the tide is low right now. As you can see across the way, there's several bald eagles, raven, and crow hanging out on the beach. And this is the tree line where we have several eagles hanging out. One is a pretty fierce mama bear. eagle defending her nest from the tourists who are coming to look at the totem pole below it. She was fanning her wings and making herself known up there in her nest. Right about there in the middle of your frame. You can see that little white spot. It's a little misty out here. Overall, pretty decent weather. It's kind of warm for us, actually. Got some tugs coming in. And maybe we can talk Ian into flipping a rock for us. How about this rock?
Ooh, it's a big guy. It's slippery. This rock won't flip. You're editing that out.
Okay, how about this rock?
No, let me pick this. Here's a rock. Easy flipper right there.
Ooh, we got eels.
Yeah, we got some eels,
Some
a
baby
shore crab,
crabs.
starfish.
And a starfish. Okay, let's cover those eels back up. Here we are walking through the Tongass National Rainforest Park. We've got totem poles, eagle, raven, and a ton of trees. We had a really lovely day in Sitka, and it was totally proof that you don't have to spend a dime to have a nice time in port. We accessed downtown via the complimentary shuttle that took you from the cruise port down to downtown. It was about a 10-minute bus ride, and the driver provided interesting commentary and facts about the area. From the downtown visitor center, where the bus drops you off, we took about a 10-minute walk to the Sitka National Historic Park. This is where they had many totem poles, eagles, ravens, a very expansive beach, and extremely well manicured trails. We had a really lovely time in Sitka, and we were so impressed by how many eagles and ravens called this area home and were on display for us. We are sea cycling in Ketchikan. It's a video. Oh. What do you think?
I like it. Floating.
I haven't been pedaling. We're like it. This was one of the best excursions we have ever taken. It was through Alaskan Sea Cycle Tours in Ketchikan, and they met us on the main dock, took us in their passenger van to their privately owned dock in Ward Cove, where we boarded our Sea Cycle catamarans. These are little pontoon boats that have cycling pedals attached to propellers, so you literally cycle through the water. During our time on the water, we saw eagles, seals, sea urchin, starfish, sea cucumber, and had a whole lot of fun. The boats were each equipped with a basket with a walkie-talkie attached so that we could hear the narration of our tour guide, Vicky, who was knowledgeable and fun and very personable. We really had a great time. After spending about an hour on the water, we met back at their floating office where we had an assortment of local jams and jellies, pickled kelp, and salmon spread, and even got to watch a local bald eagle feed from a nearby tree. This was an outstanding excursion, and I would highly recommend, if you're looking for an active excursion to do in Ketchikan, look up this one. We booked this on our own, and we didn't regret a dime spent on it. Our day in Victoria was really an evening. We weren't due into port until about 6:30 p.m., so the day was effectively a sea day, and we really treated it as such. As our last day on board the ship, we just took our time with everything. We slept in, we ordered room service, we just took the day at a real glacial pace, pun intended, sleeping in the room, watching TV, and just savoring every last minute of our last day aboard the ship. When we did get to Victoria, it was about 6:30 p.m. We disembarked just enough to walk around the town. We took a $10 taxi into the heart of downtown Victoria and did about a mile walk, which is just about all we needed to do. We got back on board at about 9 p.m., so we did take our time moseying around town, and by the time we got back on board, there was just enough time to order a pizza on the Lido deck and hit the hay. It was a really good ending to what was a very enjoyable and restorative cruise.